don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. So, I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. This is the 433rd episode of the Political Spotlight. I'm your host, Kristopher H. Bilbrey. It's great to be with you. Thank you for tuning in, giving us a little bit of your time. Whether you're watching live or on replay, we are very grateful that you are here. We would ask that you do the regular YouTube things, social media things. Smash the like button. If you're not subscribed, consider doing that. It doesn't cost you anything. Click that bell so you know when we go live, even though you know it's basically Sunday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern. Communicate over here if you're watching live. Communicate down here if you're watching via replay. Share the show with everyone you know. That is all that matters. Okay. So tonight is a Madison County episode. We're going to be bringing on Katherine here in just 1 second. I do have to say, I have been being inundated, ladies and gentlemen, with people from Henry County about the situation concerning John Sproles. I will tell you that I have been contacted by some interesting people that are really wanting to know some information. They were interested in my interpretation of what occurred yesterday, and Monday night, rather, I guess. My interpretation yesterday of what occurred Monday. And so I spelled it out, wrote it out for some people. I definitely let them, I isolated the traffic and let them hear that. Of course, people have ways to getting that. So hopefully something comes of this. Everybody and their brother just does not understand how this happens again. Listen, anytime you're doing police work, obviously the nature of the job, things can go sideways and shit can get bad. Specifically when you're in a vehicle pursuit. And listen, I'm not the whacked out folks that say there's never a time for a vehicle pursuit. That's not true. Vehicle pursuits absolutely have a place in modern day policing. They just do. When you're pulled over, if you're debating anybody, you can argue and debate and disagree with anybody, politicians, cops, whatever. But there's always a place and a time. You have to be willing to pay the consequences. And sometimes Those consequences that you end up paying are because of you being in the wrong place at the wrong time, or you being in a place where you shouldn't be. So if you're the passenger of a vehicle that's doing stupid shit, sometimes you wind up dead. And you have to be aware of that. And now I'm not trying to be cold. I'm just saying it is what it is. I am not going to ever say that someone running, it's all horrible. There are a place and time. I just don't know that the event on Monday night was the right place and right time for a vehicle pursuit that lasted 20 some minutes and went 55 some miles across 3 different counties involving 3 to 4 different law enforcement agencies. I don't think that Monday night's event warranted that. So we're not done covering that. We just don't have any coverage for that tonight. It is going to be something that we're going to talk about again in the future, very possibly the near future, but we're not going to talk about it tonight. One other thing I have to say before I bring on Katherine, and this is very important and very big news in Delaware County. This might be some of the biggest political news for Delaware County that we've had in some time. And that news is that today, and I was aware that this was coming. I have sources, and I've reached out to folks that I trust, and I was aware, and I was under the assumption that this was happening. I didn't know exactly when it was going to happen, but I knew that it was going to happen, and it has now officially happened. And we're going to cover this here just briefly before we bring Katherine on. Let me get here to the breaking news. Here's the breaking news banner. Ladies and gentlemen, today it was announced by both the Delaware County Republican Party and the Delaware County, Indiana Prosecuting Attorney's Office that Eric Hoffman, the current elected Delaware County prosecutor, has officially made the jump from the Democratic Party in Delaware County to the Republican Party in Delaware County. The Delaware County Republicans' statement is as follows. We are pleased to welcome Delaware County Prosecutor Eric Hoffman into the Republican Party. He has served with distinction and upheld the responsibilities of his office with excellence. We invite others, especially Democrats who value law and order, traditional Hoosier values, and fiscal responsibility, to consider joining our growing Republican team here in Delaware County. Together, we are committed to moving our community forward through integrity, hard work, and common sense policies. And that was written by Tim Overton, the current new Delaware County Republican chairman. Here on screen is a picture of both Eric and Tim Overton. Okay. Here is the longer letter that has been published by Eric Hoffman. And I'm going to read this really quickly. It is of importance. This letter says the following. Eric Hoffman announces intentions to run for re-election. So he is announcing that he is running for re-election to the prosecutor's office. I am proud to announce that I have decided to run for re-election next year as a Delaware County Delaware County prosecuting attorney. While it is true that the prosecuting attorney is a political office in the sense that the prosecutor is elected by the people they serve, a prosecutor has no public policy to pursue in a political manner. I took an oath to uphold and enforce the law as it is written, regardless of what political party I am associated with. The fact of the matter is that if a prosecutor holds true to his or her oath of office, fairly enforces the law, and holds the people accountable for their actions, the prosecutor's political party should not be an issue. and it hasn't been an issue for Mr. Hoffman. I put that in. I have been elected prosecutor twice as a Democrat. I was raised in a traditional blue-collar union middle-class Democrat family where certain moderate core values like God, family, and country were instilled in me. We stood and took our hats off for our national anthem, proudly recited the Pledge of Allegiance, and respected law enforcement. However, it seems that something has changed. Over the last few years, it has become obvious to me that the National Democrat Party has shifted away from those core values, and I believe are so very important. To borrow a phrase from President Ronald Reagan, I didn't leave the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party left me. Like many others, I do not feel like there is room under the Democrat tent for a conservative moderate like myself, like Eric Self. I simply cannot be affiliated with a national party that supports or endorses things as defund the police movements or soft on crime policies that accomplish nothing but place police officers and other innocent victims in harm's way. Therefore, after much thought, consideration, as well as consultation with my family and campaign manager Terry Winters, a former Muncie police officer, next year when I run for re-election, I will be running as a Republican. The Delaware County Republican Party has allowed me to run on the Republican ticket, and I am very thankful for the opportunity to do so. This is a personal decision that I have come to over the past few years. I have always been blessed to receive bipartisan friendship and support, and I will no doubt continue to do so. My professional record speaks for itself. I have spent my entire legal career pursuing justice, prosecuting those who violate the criminal law, and uphold the rights of victims regardless of party affiliation. I am an ardent supporter of the rule of law and unapologetically hold those who break the law accountable for their actions. The day-to-day operations of the prosecutor's office will not change. We will continue to hold those who violate the law accountable, hold the rule of law, and help keep Delaware County a safe place to live and work. During the past 7 years, my team and I have accomplished many great things. I have the best team of deputy prosecutors, investigators, and support staff in the state, and we work hard as a team to seek justice. I look forward to continuing my service to the people of Delaware County as their prosecuting attorney. Eric is a graduate from Ball State University in 2000 with a Bachelor of Science, and then Indiana University of McKinney School of Law in 2003 with a Doctor of Jurisprudence. He is admitted to practice law in the state of Indiana, the United States Supreme Court, and the Seventh Circuit Federal Court of Appeals, and the Federal District Court for the Northern and Southern Districts of Indiana. Eric has spent his entire legal career fighting crime in Delaware County and the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office. He first joined the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office in 1999 as a Ball State intern. In 2001, while attending law school, Eric was hired as a law clerk and by the prosecutor's office. In 2003, he was hired as a full-time deputy prosecutor with the office. In 2012, Eric was appointed to Delaware County's chief trial deputy prosecutor. In November of 2018, Eric was elected to his first term as Delaware County prosecuting attorney and reelected in 2022. He personally prosecutes homicide cases and other selected crimes of violence. Additionally, Eric is responsible for the training and supervising a staff of 12 deputy prosecutors, and investigators, support staff, and so on. Eric's passion in pursuing justice on behalf of those who've been victimized by crime, especially those who have no voice, cannot protect themselves. Eric has served as a volunteer on many professional and community-oriented boards and committees. Eric frequently speaks on topics involving child abuse and neglect, child fatality, homicides, and the insanity defense, victims' rights. Eric lives in Muncie with his 3 children. I have to say, I've personally known Eric since 1998 or 1999. I've known Eric for a very long time. I was blown away when Eric ran as a Democrat because I've known Eric my entire life to be a constitutionally minded conservative. He ran as a prosecutor, and for those reasons, honestly, he and I have never discussed those reasons. Eric comes from a family of law enforcement officers who have worked in the South Bend Police Department and who have had a long, storied career in law enforcement. If I or my family or friends, God forbid, were ever the victims of crime, I would want Eric Hoffman to be the prosecutor of that case. If I were ever wrongfully accused of a crime, I would want the prosecutor's office under Eric Hoffman to be reviewing those cases and charges to determine if charges should be filed. I feel like there is nobody better suited in Delaware County currently, or East Central Indiana, honestly, to serve as elected prosecutor of Delaware County. And it is important to understand that while justice is blind, the prosecutor's office is not specifically a blindfolded office. They do have discretion, and prosecutor's discretion is very important. Eric has served the office in a manner in which folks would not know if he was a Republican or Democrat, and he will continue doing so. I feel like this is more a personal situation than something that will ever affect the community or anyone else out in the world. And I would challenge anyone to bring these situations in which Eric has ever done anything outside of what would be proper protocol for a prosecutor in any other given stance in the 92 counties in Indiana. So that being said, I'm happy for Eric. I'm happy for the folks in the prosecutor's office, and I'm happy for the Republican Party. The only other thing, and the last thing I'll say about this before we bring Katherine on, is I hope now with the Republican Party making some changes, and it seems like they are coming to a new day here in Delaware County, I hope that they will take the steps to unblock those that have been blocked from the party's Facebook page, social media accounts, like Ryan Webb and others. I hope that they will restart kind of the list, restart the deck, and let's start forward from here going fresh and see what goes on from there. And we will see what happens. I will give them the benefit of the doubt, and we'll hold them accountable when it is needed. Okay. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we'll cover that. We've got a lot to cover, folks. I mean, we could be going live 24 hours a day at this point, but without further ado, we're going to bring, oops, I hit the wrong one. We're going to bring Katherine on here and see what goes on.
Okay. I got to say something. Mm-hmm. After I say this to you, you may never want me on this show again, and I don't even care. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it to you.
Sure.
You sound like a hypocrite.
Why's that?
Let me tell you something. Mm-hmm. I've never met your prosecutor, okay? But rules are rules. Okay? So he won as a Democrat, and now he's a Republican. So he should resign, and that seat goes caucused to a Democrat, because that's how he won that seat, technically.
What do you mean?
Your prosecutor.
Okay. He won as a Democrat.
Won his seat as a Democrat. Is now professing his love to a Republican. So that seat is supposed to technically be held by a Democrat.
I don't know if that's true. I think the seat is because the Democrat didn't win.
Let me continue.
Hoffman as a person won.
Let me continue. Let me continue. Yeah. No. If somebody's on the council, they win as a Republican, they resign, they get caucused in as a Republican. So now he's really muddied the waters as an attorney, because you won as a Democrat, you're no longer a Democrat. Why do you get to hold that seat? Because now you're a Republican. Now, the other thing is that now what he's done in Delaware County is people are supposed to have a two-party rule, right? So a two-party rule means that this guy needs to vote twice as a Republican.
He did.
So
he has.
So again, you've got a sheep in wolf clothing, because now, or a wolf in sheep clothing, because he's professing that he's this Democrat, and now he's voting as a Republican. I don't know. You guys might say this is a good dude,
No, wait, back up here. Because first of all, so there's nothing in state law that says that you can't do what's done here. The person is what's elected to the office, not the party. Because
no,
it absolutely is true.
Because we have a Democrat and we have a Republican. Then why do we have parties? That's not true.
Well,
if it's not about a party, that's not true. Then when we replace people, then why do we have to go with a Republican or we have to go to a Democrat?
I hear what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And here's the thing. Maybe we should push. Listen, I would not be opposed. I get fully what you're saying, and I would be okay with that for that to be the law. I would be fine with that. I would be perfectly fine with that. I'm just
saying, if this guy is as legit as you guys say he is, and he's as great as he is, and he's not for the Republican Party, and he's not for a Democrat, well, then get yourself out there and run as an independent.
Well, sure. No. Listen, so first and foremost, Eric has never been challenged. No one will challenge Eric. He ran unopposed. Every time he's ran unopposed. No one will challenge Eric. So Eric, as far as I'm concerned, Eric could run as an independent. He could run as a libertarian. Eric would have no problem with that.
Should have done for the people is say, I'm going to run as an independent. I'm not going to choose a party because this is truly a position that I've worked as, not as a Republican or as a Democrat. I'm just saying from the outside looking in, I really don't care what you guys do up in Delaware County. I just always like to bring another viewpoint to the stage.
No, yeah, sure. Right. And listen, I'm perfectly fine with that. That needs to be you need to approach a state representative and maybe have that done. I definitely agree with that. I'll take it a step further. I don't like the fact that if somebody dies, is convicted of a felony, leaves or resigns or otherwise leaves a seat, I don't like that it's the party that decides. I think that there should be a 30-day runoff and people should come out and vote. I think that we should have special elections like they do in most other states around. Now, that would cost wild amounts of money and we would need to figure out ways to do that. But I don't like the fact that it's the parties that challenge that pick that. Or even if it's a Democrat wins and we're going to pick the people should still pick between the Democrats. So I'm perfectly fine with what you're saying, but we in my opinion, people can't be penalized for doing what's legally allowed currently. So I'm okay with saying, yeah, maybe it should be this way, maybe it shouldn't be, but if someone's just doing what's allowed, I don't know that that's
well,
I don't know that that's a bad thing.
I mean, I've never met the guy, but again, you're out there voting as a Republican, although you're a Democrat in that seat.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's a character flaw. But he's your people.
Let me ask you about that. That's interesting to me because so you're someone that believes in straight parties?
No, I don't believe in straight parties.
Republicans, and we should only vote for Democrats.
I don't believe in straight parties. But
so as a Democrat, as prosecutor, Eric Hoffman doesn't give up the fact that he's a citizen. So when Eric goes and votes in, say, the presidential election, is Eric forced to vote for Biden because he once ran as a Democrat?
So this is my answer for you on that one. This guy, whoever he is, if he's voted twice as a Republican in the last two, he should have come out with this letter 4 years ago.
Well, 4 years ago, he didn't vote. It was after he ran.
Okay. So after he ran and took that seat as a Democrat, he should have turned around and said, you know what? I'm going to turn into a Republican. I'm going to start that now. Why are you waiting until the year before you're getting ready to go up for election that now you're going to be a Republican? And I don't know how, I'll tell you this, in Madison County, you can't win as a Democrat. I don't care who you are. You ain't winning as a Democrat in Madison County. You just aren't. Just save your money and your time. Now, do I think Democrats should put their names in? Absolutely. We need the challenges here at Madison County. But right now, people's heads have been so stuck in the sand that they're not doing a good job at educating themselves on who to vote for when we get to the general election. That's what becomes the problem.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that the way he's gone about it, I'm not
that's
buying what he's putting down.
And so to be fair, I've said that when I posted this information, I've posted, listen, there are people who have switched parties that I've not bought. I personally know Eric. I've known Eric for 30 years.
So maybe you're just very biased and can't give us a good answer.
Well, no. I mean, there is.
It seems like you might be in love with this guy.
Sure. There is personal bias here. No problem. And
I just give it to you because you were giving it to me about Kyle tonight. So.
Oh no, we're not done. You're still going to get it, and you did well, because now it looks like I'll be striking out. But you'll have to tell the people that I did bring it to you first. But that is good. No, but listen, you bring up a good point, and I did say that when people switch parties, you need to look at why people switching parties. And the reason I wanted to do kind of the expose that I did there was because there are people right now saying, well, he's just switching because you can only win in Indiana as a Republican.
Exactly.
Which no. But don't say exactly, because he's won here twice.
Only because he hasn't had an opponent. So don't go there with
No. But it's not because he hasn't had an opponent. People haven't. He was in office. Why didn't anyone choose to run against him? Are we saying we don't have Republican attorneys? I know that's bullshit. Most of our attorneys here are Republican.
And here's what I'm going to tell
you. So they certainly could have ran against him.
At some point, I have a strange feeling he's going to have an opponent.
I was talking about that to someone today. And
let me tell you why. I don't think it's just him. I don't want you to think it's just him.
I know.
Right? I think, last Tuesday when we had that council meeting at Madison County,
mm-hmm.
and the woman got up to the podium. I don't know who she is, never met the woman, and she said, I never got involved in politics, but you people are pissing me off so much that I'm going to now get into politics. I think things are only going to get worse over the next, 15 months, people. And the primary is going to be here in less than 13 months. And
understand, because I heard her say that, and I hope that's the case. But understand, I've come from a lot of elections where Hoosiers have let me down, having low short-term memory. So I hope they stay involved.
I think things are going to get a lot more crazy. I mean, you and I both, we're barely able to keep up with what's going on. And then we're trying to connect. And it's like, you've got grenades going off. I've got grenades going off. And we can't even get it together because we're trying to put out these fires or figure out what's going on. And here's something, I mean, and again, I think people enjoy watching the two of us because we are willing to have a discussion like that. There's got to be other people who are thinking the same thing I'm stating to you, right?
Sure. Yeah.
It's just the thing. I mean, there's other people on here that think you're a hypocrite, and that's okay.
Sure, absolutely. Nightly, daily.
So, but I'm just kidding. I love Kristopher, and and I get it. I mean, if you think this guy's a good guy, I'm with you, right? I just wish he would have gone about it in a little different way. That's all I'm saying. And so he just should have decided a couple years ago, hey, I'm going to come out as a Republican. And, it's coming out of the closet.
So if he would have came out 2 years ago, you're saying he should have said it 2 years ago and still he would have been fine. You're saying he needed to give up the office.
He should have still left his seat because he's a Democrat, or he's a Republican, or whatever you want to call those people, because he's not Republican and he's not Democrat now.
So they should give up the office to a lesser person.
They should listen. You won as that party. You worked that party. You promised and committed to that party. Then you stay in that party.
But see, that to me walks a dangerous line of being a lover of straight party people.
Then get rid of Democrats and Republicans. I think we should.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Think about it. This is like a cult, right?
It is.
You're
Absolutely,
either in the Democrat cult or you're in the Republican cult.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, think about it. Is everybody going to go over here and drink the blue Kool-Aid, or are you going to try the red Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
because when you put them together and you drink the grape Kool-Aid, well, you guys all just committed suicide out there in the middle of the lawn.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm just making this up. But
no,
anyways,
I like that. Real quick, because I know we got to get to the Madison County stuff, but that is, I mean, I like the thought of what you're saying, and maybe that's something. Listen, first and foremost, I want the state officials to do something about property tax. They screwed up this time. Do something about I think that they should be capable to handle several big issues at the same time. I want them to do term limits. I want them to do something about property tax. And I wouldn't be against them doing something like you said, where, for example, when Ed was just elected as the treasurer, and then the very next year, he was caucused in as treasurer and then ran for auditor. I think that you should have to step down your seat for, I don't like that. Like, for example, I have a strong suspicion that Matt Kantz, as a Delaware County councilor, I believe that Matt Kantz is gearing up for a run for commissioner. If he does that next year, runs for commissioner, it's a do or die, because he will not be. If he loses, he doesn't have his council seat, because his seat's up next year. However, if Jessica Piper would have ran last year for commissioner and she lost, she would still have her seat, because she wasn't in. So I don't like that. So I do, even though I'm arguing against you because it's technically not the law and you should be able to do what you can under the law. I get it. But I like your point, and I think that that's something that they ought to look at. So I just want that to be clear.
The question is, okay, I mean, we're just using him as the prosecutor.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. If he's appointed to any boards, or he's or anything like that, where he was holding the seat on the board as a Democrat,
yep,
and he really was a Republican, what do you call that? I mean, think about it. If this were Ed Carroll, you would literally be shitting yourself right now.
No, because
yes.
Wait.
Oh, no, tell me no.
No, you're not saying, no, you don't have all the information. I would, if Ed Carroll didn't take the steps to take care of that. Eric's already cleared that up. He stepped down as party chair. He stepped down as precinct committee person last year. He stepped down to those boards. But
as a Republican then?
Because I don't know that I haven't talked to him about this. I have not. You
have a love affair with this guy. You are totally giving him all these excuses. You're an enabler.
No, I'm not.
You're an enabler.
I'm not giving him the excuses. I'm wanting you to know the right answers. I would give Ed shit if Ed hadn't taken care of those things pre. But the fact that Ed, if Ed would have said, okay, I'm removing myself from this board or from this board that is politically weighted, then I would be like, okay, he took those steps. So, for example, I know that Eric stepped off as a Democrat precinct committee person. He did that solely so he could support a candidate to run for judge. He supported Andrew Ramirez. So that's when that first happened, I thought maybe something was up, but I didn't hear about this until a couple of weeks ago. So I heard
my other question would be, looking back on this prosecutor again, please understand, everybody, I got no beef with the prosecutor in Delaware County.
Yeah, right.
This is just dialogue that we feel others in the community would ask these questions.
Absolutely.
There's nothing here that between Chris and I. So people
right.
So my other question would be, did he support any Democrats in the 2024 election? Now, you may not have the answer to this, because he came out to support a Republican one. You know what I'm saying? So was he split? So these are just things. And here's the thing. If this prosecutor is watching this show, listen to me. I ain't got no beef with you, but think about how you want to answer those, because those questions are going to come up. People are going to approach you. People are going to look into this. People are going to go through those things and go through your Facebook page and stuff like that. Again, I'm just putting it out there.
I don't think he supported. I think the only person last year he supported openly was that I know of was the judge candidate. I think Eric really normally doesn't
come out and say much of anybody
because the prosecutor's office shouldn't really.
Right. It should be neutral.
Judges have to be neutral. They can't politics.
Exactly. And they're not allowed to support anybody.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Again,
that is a good point. Absolutely.
I'm just putting that out there for everybody. Just some food for thought.
100%.
I do believe this is going to blow up. I do believe this is going to go under fire at some point. I mean, it just, there's lots of questions because what you guys have just done is say that it's okay for anybody in Delaware County to run anywhere they want.
I personally think that.
I do too.
So then again, right there, you then argued against your argument.
That's what I told everybody. I'm having the argument with you just to have the argument. I know.
You know
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The way you were talking, like you sound like a hypocrite.
Yeah. No, right? Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
So anyways, I mean, and that's what we have to ask ourselves. Would we be this critical of anybody who was running? And that's the whole reason why when Chris was reading that letter, I thought, I can't let this go. I can't let him justify this and us not have some type of discussion because that makes our show weaker.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense? And so we have to talk about the elephant in the room, whether it's an uncomfortable conversation or not. So that's why
at least you said it was an elephant. So you got the party right.
Right. And here's what here's what I want. And this brings me into another stretch, everybody. For Madison County, if any of you are on here watching me from Madison County, tomorrow at 2:00, there is an election board hearing.
Yeah, what's the deal with that? What is that?
Well, they put up no agenda. They put it up 48 hours before it was supposed to be done. Now, I want everybody to understand this. Kristopher knows this. And Kristopher found this out about a month ago. We have chosen not to cover this just yet because we're in the process of working through this. But the Ben Gale situation, do you want to tell them about why that's not at the election board hearing?
I'll be honest, I think I forgot about it. So you'll have to refresh our memory.
So that one, they want me to file it with the state. So now suddenly, Madison County has been put up against a wall so many times with Russ Willis's stuff, with, it's all been Russ Willis's stuff.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
That they can no longer hear certain hearings anymore because they're so corrupt. Now, all of a sudden, it's way above their head, and this is above their pay grade, and this has to do with finances. And so we are not the right division, this election board, to hear this. We need you to take that to the state level. Because, frankly, Lannon is incompetent. We all are clear that Linda Smith is incompetent. And tomorrow, they will now introduce you the devil, Michelle Daniels, who would get on her knees for Russ Willis anytime, anywhere, to keep anything going in that Republican Party that she can. And that's a sad situation because Michelle Daniels did a bunch for us when we were running as coroners up in Elwood. In Elwood. But I'm telling you right now, you haven't seen corruption until you put Michelle Daniels on that election board.
I don't get how the state party is going to hear I don't understand how the state's going to hear this. The state has said for years upon years upon years that they won't hear county level political election board matters.
Well, so that's what the letter came down, and we need to do a whole show on that letter and stuff at some point.
Yeah.
So again, Madison County, go to the election board. I've got patients in the afternoon. I don't think I can move them. I know Miss Crooms will be doing this live. I encourage you to go because the only
there's no way they're going to do anything about your complaint. So you're not going to get screwed over by not being there.
Right. And they never finished anything on that election board. They never finished anything with Ollie Dixon's complaints where pre-signed ballots were missing. They weren't accounted for. They didn't do anything about Ollie Dixon's complaints where only one party was transporting ballots. there was so many different things that Ollie Dixon had legitimate complaints on. They didn't rule at the last election board. And here we are again tomorrow with no agenda. And you know why we have no agenda? Because if they want to slip something in, they want to talk about something at the last minute, they don't have to answer to the 48-hour rule. Understand, technically, she did follow the rules. It was posted outside the doors of the government center. That's all she has to do, and nothing more. I mean, I think she has to notify the journalist, but it is what it is.
Okay.
So I just want to, and you can see the time and the date on my Facebook page for the election board meeting. I do hope that people who go to this election board meeting ask questions, be heard, fill that room. I mean, we have no election integrity in Madison County, but I'll be interested to see who shows up tomorrow. Yeah. So that's my speech about the election board, because we know how corrupt it is in Delaware County. Why not spill over to our county?
Yeah. What? So,
because y'all letting people just run amok over there on any party ticket they want.
Hey, it's great. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, so what are we? I'm looking something up here. What are we getting at? What are we? Where are we going?
Did you bring my Facebook page up?
I brought Facebook up. I didn't bring your page up, but we can bring your Facebook page up. What are we looking at?
Okay, so the first one is show them the election board hearing tomorrow. Please share this.
Okay,
and
let me put that
tell the people right here. Please feel free to share that. That's the election board. That's the bare
Madison County Election Board will convene a public meeting on the 17th day of April, 2025, 2 p.m. The Madison County Government Center, 16 East 9th Street, Anderson, Indiana. Room 110, Linda Smith, Election Board Secretary. Okay, that's that.
So then go to the next thing.
Something.
The next post.
Okay, next post.
Yes.
No, we need to talk about this.
Okay, let's read what I wrote about.
This is big. Okay, so Catherine's wrote, it's hard to see. So on a post on Catherine's social media just about an hour ago, she posted, if you're Team Gaskell, and this is State Senator Mike Gaskell, I would like some answers to violating people's First Amendment rights on social media. Why is a Republican discussion group paused right after the passage of this so-called historic tax relief? Could it be that the admins of the page, Josh Gaskell, the son of state senator who wants to mute criticism against his daddy? As always, this is America. If you're unhappy with how the vote went and you buy your insurance through State Farm, you could switch insurance companies and send a message a different way, since you're not allowed to have a voice. Quit voting for the people who continue to silence you. Yeah, this is I cannot stand this. Republicans of Madison County, Indiana, group is temporarily paused for 26 hours. Why? And I mean, okay, let me tell you, no one will be bitching about this in 26 hours. That sounds about right. I say in 26 hours, we just go dump on this page. And admin paused this group on April 15th, 2025. Group activity will resume on April 16th at... Wait a minute. Isn't it April 16th right now?
Yeah.
So it's this group is back open?
I don't know. I'm blocked from the page.
Let's go take a look. Republicans of Madison County. Oh, you know what? I think I might be too. Republicans.
I'm blocked for the page.
That's so cowardly. Republican women, Republicans of Madison County. Madison County Republicans. Is that it?
Are you sure you're not blocked?
I probably am. No, I think I'm blocked. What a ridiculous bunch of shitheads.
Right?
So, okay, whatever. Now I'm pissed off.
Well, I'm always blocked from that. So I just want I got blocked from there a long time ago. So I just want you all to know that.
God. Well, there's that. Okay. So that's
So
special.
then I want you to go and there's Kyle Pierce's thing. And then everybody got to see that.
Looks like yeah, right? What was he doing back behind there?
And then I think he was getting his water
I think,
all in
yeah,
shape.
right. Uh-huh.
And then, we want to talk about, I went out to Alexandria.
Oh, yeah. This thing. So discuss what happened out there.
So here's the thing that's going on in Madison County. Across the street here is, do we have the thing? This is
are we going to do
Alexandria,
a
the
video
Scotts
of
edition.
video? Is that what we're doing?
You can. I mean, it was like a 3-minute. This is the Scotts Phillips edition, where across the street, they've got the drainage issue going on, that all that sewage, and they've got 200 and some homes all backing up in that drain. Okay. And so what's happening is that when that backs up, there's a whole nother housing addition across the street. That drain's doing the same thing. The county is saying they don't have any responsibility to that drain, but they're the ones that put it in.
Yeah.
And so they're saying, no, that belongs to the people, just like what's going on over there. Well, the health department has their manager, Joe Davis, who lives in Yorktown. And he has been coming out and pretty much telling all these neighbors that this is all their problems. Don't bother the health department. Don't call the health department, because it has nothing to do with the health department, even though the sewage is backing up and all kinds of things are going on. I mean, they even said they've got flying turds going on over there, right?
Jesus.
And so this gentleman who lives across the street, he's been complaining too. And he's called Joe. Joe's treated him literally like crap. He's berated him. He's humiliated
and where's
him.
Joe from?
Joe's from Yorktown, but he works for the Madison County Health Department. He's their environmental.
I don't mean like where's he from personally. I mean, what's his job?
Yeah, he's the environmental engineer from
Madison
the health
County.
department.
Okay.
Well, what happened is when Joe came out, he more so last year represented him more as representing the surveyor's office.
Okay.
And so when the neighbors began to see my post, they're like, that's our drain. Well, I just thought it was all connected together. This gentleman and those neighbors who live there, they need to file with IDEM as well.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty clear.
So you want to watch this then? Is that what you're wanting to do?
Yeah, we can watch it. It's not very long. Edition with David Claybaugh, and he had called because Hey, Madison County, it's Katherine coming to you. I'm out here in the Scotts edition with David Claybaugh, and he had called because he had heard we're going to get some fixtures out here in the house that's been the biggest problem, which is the Wyckoff's house that's been backing up. And I don't know how many homes bleed into that drainage, 200 and some?
It's right at 200 and some.
200 and some. And so we were out here looking at this map, and it looks like the drain across the street is also another big problem. And how many houses are draining to that?
Probably all the way from Cunningham.
Okay. So if you're familiar with this area, this is so much bigger than just one drain that's going to be fixed. We're glad that we're on the right path as far as getting that. It looks like the commissioners have that with Commonwealth, but they need to include this section over here. If you look around, this is kind of the area that we're looking at if you're familiar with Alexandria. Now, here's the map. And I don't know. I mean, I know you won't be, and I'll get it up where you can see it a little bit better. I'll get it scanned in or somehow. But tell them a little bit about this. Let me flip the camera and then you can tell them a little bit about this and how this is actually going to work. Go ahead.
Okay, so the main old mole ditch that was installed by the county, and it's even on this map, got it right here, Paul W. Phillips, county surveyor. It doesn't have a date though. Right here is my house, the old Frank Hughes house. Okay, across the street's the old Malone house, which is the big house on Bethel when you cross the bridge on the right. Okay, the field tile drains that run through here. My house was the second house built out here after the Malones. It was a farmhouse. I pretty much on the field tiles go to my basement. I'm the last one on the system. Years ago, I called the county commissioner. It was a lady, I cannot remember her name. They come out and they put this relief pit in so that they could jet it and maintain it for me. Great for years. So now that I'm having an issue again with about 4 to 5 years of water in my basement. The tile collapsed in my neighbor's yard, and they're new neighbors, and they didn't know, and I think they just went ahead and sealed it up to try to keep the water out of their yard. So for 4 years, I've been dealing with this water issue that used to run down across Bethel on the creek. At one point in time, the county did work and cut it. Then the water would run down this drain down here. Well, these new neighbors over here didn't want the water in their yard, so they filled the ditch back in, and I'm totally blocked. So I'm taking everybody's water
and then
into
some.
my basement and then some. So pretty much from my basement, it runs right through here. I'm sure she's going to show you in a minute the water that's coming up. Basically, it was put in so that the county could go ahead and jet it if need be. It's old mailbox tile. We all know that it's a major issue out here. We want it fixed, but we want it fixed right.
So I have to ask you, who's been out here? Has the health department been out here? Who's been out here?
I think his name was Joe Davis.
And how were you treated by Joe Davis?
Not real kindly. I talked with him. I even asked him if he could have Mr. Richwine come out and speak with me about these issues at one point in time. And he said that he didn't think that he would have any time on this. But I knew right there and there I was fighting a battle.
How long ago was this?
This had to have been 5 years ago.
Okay.
Wait a minute. My problem come back 5 years ago. I talked with him. It was either last year or the year before.
Okay. So do you think with this new project that they're talking about that they're going to be able to handle all these homes going into?
No, because they're going to have to separate the sewer from the storm water. And that's the whole issue. Some of the houses out here that are not on laterals, they are going into the storm water, which is going into their backyard back here. Originally designed to be that way by the county. The county has known this for years, people, and the can got kicked down the road. My dad lived out. I'm 51 years old. I've been in this neighborhood for 49 years. I was in Town Ellick for a couple years. My mom and dad lived just over on on P Street. So pretty much, I've known about this all the way back to, I think it was Ted Donahue was the commissioner, because I remember my dad talking with him.
Wow.
This is how long the county has known we've had this problem.
Okay. So
Wow.
this has been great to see that we've got problems out here, and what the commissioners did on Tuesday do not even correlate to what's actually happening. So the commissioners have not put everything. We need to file an IDEM report for here across the street as well. The commissioners do not have that on their radar. They only have across the street on their radar. And so, you know, Mr. Clayball found me on social media and asking for help. So, and I said that. I said, there's other drains out here that need to go with IDEM, since the Madison County Health Department doesn't want to address this. The commissioners don't want to address this. This is what's going on out here. We are not a third world country. We pay more taxes than Hamilton County. We have to ask ourselves, why do we look the way we do when Hamilton County pays less and they look the way they do? It's because the people allow this. So I will bring you more. We'll find out what we're going to do about this drain. And I'm telling you right now, Gardner, Richwine, and Pratt, if you don't get these people some help, I will continue to move this as far as I can until they get help. We are not in Haiti. They do not deserve to be treated like this, and no one has to live in sewage. So stay tuned. I will be back on here in about an hour with Kyle Pierce.
Crazy.
So I'll talk to you guys soon, and thanks for tuning in and listening.
So
now, if somebody's requesting to speak to a commissioner, none of these commissioners are like these grand poopahs or whatever you want them to be. I mean, this is just craziness. I will tell you that people are messaging Gardner on the weekends. Same with
calling them through the week, texting through the week, trying to get through the week. No one gets hold. That's like Dave Hull. Dave Hull tried to contact a city council member down in where he lives in Newcastle, and the guy literally calls him up and says, "I'm on lunch. You got 5 minutes. What do you need?" And it's like, what?
Yeah,
you work for me.
That is how insane all of this is. I mean, I don't understand why the people even tolerate this. As far as I'm concerned, go knock on their doors. You know what? That's all public record. When people tell me, hey, you're putting out their information, listen, this is all public record. This is not like Catherine's got some secret, operator or something. These people have chosen to be public servants.
Yeah.
And I have a video. I sent it to you in Messenger, Chris. I'm going to post this one. This is the actual drain that they've been trying to maneuver for decades. And I'm going to post that in a separate post tomorrow to show you. The one behind the Wyckoff's house is atrocious. I can't even believe this has gone on this long. But then we're going to talk about. So he was showing me this. He has to literally go over here. This is such a nightmare.
So this is the drain problem that they're having. Here's the drain. This is literally what they have to do.
To keep it flowing.
Jesus.
There's no reason for this.
Good thing I'm on the easement here.
Now we have no rain right now, right?
Yeah. When I mean, I know it's been really rainy, but when's the last time it rained?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's last weekend. It's been 4 or 5 days, and they're still struggling with this. It's awful. I'm going to go out there when it rains and really show people what it looks like, because like you could have waders on. That's how bad it is.
Scratch and sniff camera with you.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Was
awful.
it bad?
The smell was not too bad. But the other day when I was out at the Wyckoffs, when the water was really bad, then the smell was much worse. So, and that's the thing. I know that I'm going to send you another thing that I want to go over. There's just so much happening, you guys, in Madison County that I'm like struggling to keep up with.
Yeah, that should be dry by now. Yeah.
I'm trying to post as much as I can, as quickly as I can post. So let me see here. There's another. So I don't know if you watched the commissioners meeting yesterday or not. I'm going to send this to Messenger.
Just.
Okay. So I sent you that one because people are messaging me right now. So this is another post that I made this morning. I'm going to have Chris read my intro to that.
Where?
In the messenger of the group with Kate and you.
All right, I'm looking here.
And what I want people to understand is in Madison County, there's a line item to fix drains. Does anybody know how much money we have in that line item? That would be $0. But if you go out to the
I don't have any video from you.
No, it's a post.
I don't have any. Let me see. Yeah, there you go.
If you go out to the lichens, if you go out to the rich wines, their farms are great. So where do you think all this money has been going? The commissioners are getting millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars at budget time. And then every month they're getting millions of dollars. So why isn't the money being appropriated to different line items so that we can take care of this? And what's happened is they've kicked this can down the road and they've kicked this can down the road. Nobody's ever wanted to address it. Then what they've done is they have appointed people in these positions who will cover them, who will bully the public. And then people will spend millions of dollars fixing their own stuff that the county really should have been doing. Now, some people will come back and say, well, up there in Alexandria, they haven't been putting it on their property taxes. Therefore, the people should have caught it's not on their property taxes. So the fact that we don't have any money in that line item really is the people's fault for not checking their itemized taxes. Really? Because you people are the elected officials, and I can't say that everybody checks every last thing on their tax bills. So, if you think that the elected officials are doing what they believe is right, they're only doing what's right to serve them. Has nothing to do. So IDEM fined Madison County in 2022. The taxpayers are paying the fine. Well, here we are, fast forward 3 years, and for 3 years, we couldn't get anything accomplished. Do you know in less than a week, we've already got the bids, we've got the contractors, we got all kinds of things moving now.
Well, yeah.
But you couldn't do anything when IDEM was casting violations on you. So do you have that post?
Yeah, so I'll read the post and I'll put it up. So Catherine says, does anyone ever notice that the Herald Bulletin seems to report information that was never discussed in meetings? I surely didn't get all of this, which you'll see here in a moment, out of the commissioners' meeting yesterday. No wonder you often see Ken Delabatiste in the commissioner's office having sidebar conversations. Look how fast the commissioners and the county engineer, Jessica Baston, can get bids to award contracts. Just 7 short days ago, Jessica was clueless in Madison County. I thought so. Clueless in Madison County. There's no excuse. This has taken over 3 years to get this ball rolling. It just wasn't a priority because it didn't affect any of the elected or appointed officials. I've also noticed a trend in the Commonwealth that Commonwealth Engineer and Baker Tilly get almost every contract in the county. I find it interesting that those two companies always come in as the lowest bids pretty consistently. I would like to see all 3 bids for these contracts, but every time anyone goes to the podium, no one wants to discuss the contract numbers and who were the other companies and who were the other companies bidding for the contracts. Or they state, I didn't come prepared to discuss that at today's meeting. Well, you knew you were coming to present on this today, so why aren't you prepared? I'm also interested as to why we are limiting our focus on this one drain. There are a few other drains out here that are of concern. I've been out there, and this is not just one drain that's causing all this backup. If I were a resident out in that area, I would be taking a look at your drains, as well as I would be filing an IDEM report, because that appears to be the only way any of this is going to get cleaned up. This project is going to be way more than $3.5 million before it's all done. My main concern is by using these two companies who are consistently everywhere in the county, will they bring up the other drain issues? My other concern is anytime Richwine does a big contract, he just assigns the people. It's always half-assed. It always gets screwed up. Issues at the county building, issues at CJC, and so on, which ends up costing the taxpayers even more because Commissioner Richwine is so incompetent that he can't even oversee projects or appoint competent people to oversee projects. I've been out to Alexandria, several other parts of the county, and encourage many of you to go take a look at your drains. If you're in the county, in Madison County, and you're having drain issues, I encourage you to call Joe Davis at the Madison County Health Department and then immediately file an IDEM report because the timing is right. Commissioner Richwine and former Commissioner Likens have spent every dime in that line item for drains, and there is $0 in there for the people. Where is all of our money going? Where has it went? To go take a look at their fields. They don't appear to have drain issues. So where do you think all the money has gone? No matter what one's political agenda might be, I hope everyone can see that it's going to take all of us from all over the county and beyond to get involved in all the political agendas to make a difference. I'm thankful to see all the people who've come out from different parts of the county and beyond to help the community in Alexandria. You make a difference. Thank you to County Councilwoman Bethany Keller for believing in the people and being the voice of reason when everyone else continues to turn their back on you. May God and the community continue to give you the strength and wisdom for the people in this very corrupt and broken process. Keep paying it forward. Madison County residents, we all need to be concerned over how much we are paying government employees, supplying them with vehicles to drive outside of the county for personal use, and continue to be ineffective leaders in the community. Joe Davis continues to drive by residents' homes and drains as he drives to his home in Yorktown while we pay for fuel and maintenance bills, and he gets and gets, I don't know what you're trying to say here, bills, and he's the only one that gets overtime, maybe?
He's the only maintenance bill, and he gets, I don't know.
From reports, he refuses.
5 o'clock in the morning, and he's the only one that gets, I mean, here's the thing.
From reports, he refused to actually get out and effectively get a solution to our issues. None of this should have ever occurred, and this should not have gone on for as long as it has while sacrificing human life. What? Are they doing sacrifices down here? Get involved, stay involved, make your vote matter, and have your voice heard.
And what's happening is people are having heart attacks out there. People are sick. People are having cancer. And when I write these posts, it's usually 5:30 in the morning, and I'm in a hurry, so I apologize. I'll clean that one up. But people are getting sick. I've had 3 people out there die of cancer, all siblings in their 60s. That's where they grew up. None of it was genetically modified, that each one of them played on another one. Even their mom died of a cancer. All 4 different cancers. No relation to the other one. That's
insane.
I mean, there's something bad up there in that area.
Oh, there's something bad, all right.
If they have to look at more than just the drains in that area.
Yeah, they need to look at the people. Olivia Pratt, Rich Wine, and whatever lichens they plugged in this week.
And this is a bad deal. And so then Ken writes an article, and he's talking about, and if you watched the meeting yesterday, literally there's a guy in the audience, and the guy in the audience says, "Are you taking public comment?" Rich Wine did not even really acknowledge that. And he's like, "No, this is for us." This is for us. I thought these meetings were for the people. Us, what he was saying was for Pratt, who's up there chewing her gum.
I'm literally honestly going to say, and
the people accepted the answer.
Like, it's almost to the point that, like, Rich Wine, and listen, and I am not an attorney. I'm not giving anybody advice. Don't do anything I'm saying. I'm just saying from my point of view, if I was a citizen of Madison County, I'd have to think back to what my dad told me long, long ago, where you can do whatever you want as long as you're willing to pay the consequences. And if I was a citizen of Madison County, and I've heard for the last 4 years, the last 12 years, the last 36 years, this idiot tell me that these meetings are for us and they're getting paid all this grand of money without talking to citizens, and they don't give a shit about you, I would really have to consider whether or not it would be worth punching him in the mouth or not.
Well, I'll tell you, the people tolerate it. It happens in the commissioner meeting. Yeah. It happens in the county council meetings.
Yeah.
It happens in the health department. Everywhere you go in this county. Look at Senator Gaskell.
You know what you need to do?
He's got his son turning down a page. It's everywhere.
You know what you guys need to do? You need to have him shut down a meeting sometime. You need to stand up, and I'm going to take you back to that moment. And what we've already discussed it, we've already talked it to death, but that moment when Bethany Keller says, "I want to make a motion for these people to be able to talk," and nothing happens, and then she jumps it, and Grabowski didn't second it or whatever happened there, and you guys started getting loud and pushy, but then you died down and you let them go. Y'all just need to continue. Everybody in Madison County, y'all need to just stand up and say, "No, it's not good enough. No, it's not good enough. We want to speak. We want to speak," and do it until the point that they say, we gotta adjourn the meeting. We got to shut down.
I agree. But the thing is people don't show up. Even as we move into Kyle Pierce's meeting, Kyle Pierce allowed the people to speak.
I gotta give him credit for that.
How many people actually showed up? A handful. When you think about all the voters we have, and
Yeah.
this is the only amount of people who can show up, no wonder bills pass. No wonder laws are made. No wonder the people are getting screwed. Because somewhere everybody has forgotten that, well, I only have to show up at the polls, right? Oh, no.
That's exactly, yeah.
No. And that's what the problem has become. So, you know, it was more people showed up at the Anderson meeting than the Markville meeting. But I will tell you, the Markville meeting was way more powerful than Anderson's meeting. The energy in the room was more powerful. That State Bill 1 was a nightmare. I was surprised that nobody really brought up much.
You know why? I'm going to tell you why. Because the other day before the meeting, the everything was palatable and you could feel it, even though it was lesser crowd, because it was still before it had happened. I'm going to tell you about that short-term memory loss I'm telling you about.
It's already here. Hasn't even been a week.
It's not even been a week, and people just
6
are
days.
resigned to the fact. Yeah, they're resigned to the fact that, yeah, it's done. You know, hey, and I want to say this right now for all those Micah Beckwith lovers out there. Stop it already, because let me tell you, everyone's going, well, he did finally come out.
Well,
he finally come out and said, no, I want to show you something even more than too late. I want you to look at this real quick. Look. Hold on. I got it right here. I got it right here to show you. I'm going to stick it right down those people's face holes. I want you to look right here. I don't give a damn about him saying, veto it. Because look at what he did yesterday. 4/15/25, signed by the President of the Senate. Now, in case you're not sure who the President of the Senate is, let me be very clear. The President of the Senate is the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Indiana. So, for all of his veto it. Here's me in front of a Tesla. Here's me behind Charlie Kirk. Here's me writing another scene of Family Guy. Veto it. And then he walked right up and he sat down at his desk and he signed it. So save that shit.
Well, I want everybody who's watching on here. I don't know how many of you are Madison County residents. If you live in South Madison, where I live, in South Madison County, if you have homes, if you have businesses down there, I don't think you understand the full destruction of what just happened with State Bill 1. Chris, can you show that clip I just sent to you in Messenger? The news just reported on this. It unleashed about maybe an hour or two ago. People are sending it to me left and right. I will get it up on social media. Watch this news clip if it'll play. We will have no fire territories, but like one stretched all over.
Hold on.
And so
get the ad off here.
I want you to know, about 3 or 4 years ago, Chad Blake, who was president of the LaPel area, came to me and was having issues and needed lit money. And we had just raised all that lit money with all these different counties, and it was supposed to go to all these different areas. And the county council didn't give it. They ended up giving the majority of the lit money to the prosecutor's office. And I told them, don't take this, take it to social media, keep yelling at them, keep going back to meetings. But they decided not to. Well, this is the outcome when you don't have elected officials fighting for you. LaPel doesn't have the money to sustain that fire territory. Markville doesn't either. They don't have the manpower either, because people have to work in this day of an economy. The days of volunteering, we just don't have that anymore. I mean, understand this. They had a major accident out on 36 in Markville.
Stop. David Hall, your sheriff down there is not your conservative hero, brother. So you gotta, this can't be we're going to look at all Republicans and everything's going to be good. Sheriff Sproles is not conservative. He's not fiscally conservative. He's not conservative mind. He's I think deranged, dangerous, and mentally ill. He's not coming to save you or help you in any way. And I don't hate him. I just don't think he should be in charge of the sheriff's department.
Here's the
thing. He is very bad for you guys.
Republican Sheriff Sproles is a danger to himself, and he is a danger to society. And if people can't see that, well, he's probably due for a psych evaluation. And I say that as just a citizen who says, what was the deal with the pursuit? Nothing. There's no good reason to pursue that vehicle. So he endangered communities, 3 counties worth. And I'll tell you, had my kid been caught in the crossfire of that, I probably would have come after Sproles myself.
It's crazy. Yeah. All right, here we go.
These are feeling under fire after Governor Mike Braun signed Senate Bill 1 into law. 8 different local governing bodies agreed to expand a fire territory in Madison County. But WRTV State House reporter Meredith Hackler explains why that plan must now be canceled and why that's a big concern.
Public safety is an essential service. And here in Madison County, public safety officials are concerned that now that Senate Bill 1 is law, they won't be able to meet their community's needs. The picture on your screen is what would have been the expanded South Madison Fire Protection Territory. But due to limits on tax levies laid out in Senate Bill 1,
there's just no way that we can serve these other areas with the parameters that have been set in Senate Bill 1. That 40-cent tax levy is grossly insufficient for us to be able to branch out and provide service for the new areas.
The town of Pendleton, along with 4 townships and 3 other towns, all agreed to a tax levy of 80 cents for every $100 of assessed value earlier this year. As for the fire chief of the current territory, he worries for the safety of the taxpayers he's currently serving and those he would have been in the future.
They're going to go back to the respective fire territories. They're having staffing issues, they're having funding issues. That ultimately is going to trickle down effect to our fire territory that where, we may be called to provide services for them if they can't get out the door. Nobody wants to volunteer anymore.
For residents that live in what would have been the expanded district like Joey Bodenhorn, he worries for the safety of his family and neighbors, especially his daughter, who has epilepsy.
If she has a seizure, I may be waiting for, Noblesville Fire Department or Pendleton or another local agency to respond.
His home was recently destroyed in a storm. He feels the discount he will receive on property taxes isn't worth the services he would have received.
Can you put a value on a child's life? That's what I would ask the governor.
As for local government, they hope that state government will listen to their plea.
This is a situation where we are no longer able to be insulated from these decisions at the state level, and it does get partisan, and it is very frustrating.
In Madison County, Meredith Hackler, WRTV.
Public safety officials and town representatives said they haven't had communication with their local set.
I don't know what the hell. That what is this news station? They need to make sure their shit is shareable. I never can click on a WRTV video and see it all the way through. Well, there's that. It's getting ready to stop.
This is a big deal if you're in South Madison, because what's going to happen? Somebody's going to get sued because taxpayers pay for Pendleton to cover Pendleton. If Pendleton's out on runs in Lapel or wherever, and they have no way to back up their own community, this is not going to go well. And I'll tell you a perfect example over in Lapel in the new addition. A house caught on fire. And it was a new house, and I think it was like from one of those electric skateboards or whatever. Caught on fire. Pendleton responded before Lapel did because we just didn't have a lot of volunteers on. But before either one of them got there, literally the neighbors were getting their garden hoses out and they were spraying water. And the hoses aren't that far, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to spray water onto this house and take care of it themselves. Well, what happens when you get in that situation? When you have people who are trying to just help and get the water out, they get too close, something explodes, something happens, then you get more injuries. This is a big problem. And I'll tell you, and I said this back in 22 when I was standing at the podium and I was going at it with Stephanie Mellinger. Listen to me. This county is going to be bankrupt by 27, is what I said at that time. We are only going to get busier. Fire is only going to get worse. Police are only going to get worse. It's just going to be a whole nightmare, right? Because I saw all the reckless spending. I see how we don't have a budget. The council hands this out like water. Well, I was a little off on my predictions. Do you know that next month, Madison County will be in a negative draw before they dump all the property taxes come in? Now, Rick Gardner tells us how financially healthy we are. He's put all this money over here. We've got millions and millions of dollars. Nobody needs to worry. Well, will somebody like to tell me why we will be in the red next month? That tells you we are not managing our money. Money is managing us. That's a problem. And so drains can't get fixed. Needs can't be met in this county because we have only one person who's willing to hold the council accountable and the commissioners, and that's Bethany Keller. She can't do it alone. One no vote cannot supersede 6 other yeses. This county's in trouble.
Yeah.
This county, for the last 3 elections, has put a professional bankrupt person in seat. The only thing that the 2 auditors have in common and on their resume that they can gloat about, they know how to file the paperwork for bankruptcy. And we're going to be there. So if we were so financially great, there's no way on earth that we would be in the red before the next tax draw. And I just kind of want to warn everybody, we're in trouble in Madison County. But if you don't start showing up and giving some support and saying, we will not take this anymore, we will not tolerate this anymore, you're going to, what does Rainwater say at the end of the stuff? You keep doing what you're doing and you're going to keep getting what you're getting.
Yeah, absolutely.
He always said, and I'm telling you people right now, when you let Democrats jump to Republican seats, when you don't follow the code on Indiana code and you let people run wherever they want, you get what do they call it? You get wolves in sheep clothing.
Yeah.
You get them. And that's where we're at, people. Gardner was a Democrat. Rich Wine's a moron. Pratt is a puppet. I mean, we don't have anybody. People have got to run. Right now, I'm going to tell you something. In Madison County, and don't even start with me, Chris. In Madison County, what I see is we got Ken Kaczynski, the surveyor.
Good.
Who's trying to do the best he can.
Mm-hmm.
We got Bethany Keller.
Good.
Who's put everything she's got into this the best that she can. And we've got Sheriff Beeman. Other than that, we got nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, we really don't.
Yeah,
you got
absolutely.
a corrupt elected clerk who's letting election crimes go amok. And then what she's doing is coming after people. You know, I'm going to say this about Larry Savage and that whole election debacle. I wasn't in the room when the ballots were taken, but Ken Delabastide and his flunkies want to keep dragging me into this.
Stop. Then David, then you don't. Then you talking is you're full of shit. So first and foremost, because you don't know somebody doesn't mean I don't know somebody. Doesn't mean I haven't talked. You know, I used to support Sproles until I found out that he didn't have any time training. I have more years as a law enforcement officer than your current sheriff does. And I'll tell you right now, I probably shouldn't be leading a department, but I damn sure know that Sproles shouldn't. He does not have the temperament. Yeah, I know a lot about John Sproles. I don't think that you should assume that you, sir, when I spoke to you, I like you as a person, and I like where you're coming from, but I think that what you probably do, because you told me you're new at this stuff, so probably you should, as a new person, and I respect you because you're older than me, so I'll respect like my elders. But as a newbie to politics, you probably should talk less and listen more. I'm not new to politics. I've been doing this since I've been 10 years old, and I don't make comments about people the way that I do without fully understanding who they are. I wouldn't be telling you and Henry County, when I get in and I decide if I'm going to support someone or not support someone, I fully vet them personally, professionally, publicly. Last night was not full of any kind of hate. Last night was me telling you that once again, your sheriff has put you, sir, your wife, your family in serious harm. In that community. If I were you I wouldn't let your wife drive through town, because my fear would be that she could be pulled over by John Sproles. And he is, in my opinion, looking at the way he's behaved as just a citizen. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, but he looks like an unhinged lunatic. He is dangerous. And I'm telling you this seriously, meaning he will violate your rights if you give him the chance, if you allow him. He will violate other people's rights if they allow him. And he stick being the Republican up your ass, because if he is we have a rapist that's a Republican, but we're going to like them, calling himself a Republican. Listen to me, he's not a conservative. He's not a conservative person. He's not a Republican in the sense of being a Republican. That's not him. And if we can't call him out on his, listen, all I'm calling him out on is his public persona as an elected official, which is what we should be calling him out on. So,
Kristopher, this is what I'm tired of hearing. I am tired of hearing the public say, oh, they're a nice guy. Oh, they've got a great personality.
It's toxic positivity.
Oh, look at how great their smile is. Listen, the actions are clear.
Yeah.
That Sheriff Sproles put 3 counties in danger, and he needs to be praying to the gods that he's lucky that it didn't injure more people. But I'm going to tell you something. How many cars were involved in that accident last night?
Well, two bystanders.
And that's what I'm talking about. The emotional trauma of those 2 bystanders this was not necessary. I mean, was there any reason why he couldn't have just taken the plate and then called ahead and somebody could have just started looking for him ahead? Did he really have to chase them down? Now,
and he chased him down. Listen, you didn't watch the show last night, so you're not aware.
I was listening.
Not you, him.
Oh.
Not you. Yeah. You're not aware of the fact that the reason he started that pursuit was for a not a legal reason. Let me ask you what you would do if the police came to your house right now, kicked your door open. And listen, I'm saying this as a former cop, bro. What happens if the police come to your house and kick your door open and start searching through your wife's panty drawers and your personal and private stuff, and they don't have a warrant? Would you be mad? Would you do something legally? In law enforcement, they have to have reasons to do things. You have to have probable cause. You have to have infractions. You have to have, there's steps in order to do stuff. You can't just pull over a car driving down the road, and that's what Sproles did. Sproles, in his mind, while he was off duty in an unmarked car in plain clothes, which is illegal, tried to pull over a car because it looked suspicious, which again is not a reason to pull a car over. He didn't say that it sped. He didn't say that he thought it was drunk. He didn't say that it didn't use a turn signal. He didn't say it was stolen. He said they look suspicious. And then he put everyone in danger because of that. Insane. All right. Back to Madison County.
So, well,
and I say that with love.
I don't know who David is, but he seems to get you guys all fired up over there.
It kills me because I don't get him, because I like him. I like David. I like David as a human, as a person. I talked to him for an hour. We seem to be on the same, like, I like a lot of things he says, but then he comes off with these weird statements, and it's like, what? I don't get what, if you're just trolling, like, I'm okay with a troll and we can let that go. But I don't think that he truly is. I think that he really means some of these things. And that's why, like, I'm like, okay, I can let it go for a minute, but then it eventually just pushes me over the edge. And I'm like, nope, I have to clarify this. And I'm yelling and I'm upset, but there's no hate. I didn't talk. There was no hate involved in last night's show. So what I would do is I would clear your mind, because let me tell you, that sounds kind of like a Democrat statement coming from you, sir. And I know you don't like Democrats. So remove the liberal bias from your mind. I'm not hateful just because I'm talking tough. It's being serious, and I have a First Amendment right to redress my government officials. And so take that liberal thought out of your mind that there's any hate. There's no hate there. And go back, watch it, and listen, and then think, oh, maybe there's a problem here.
I'm always curious why uncomfortable conversations of truth means you hate somebody.
Yeah, that's always weird too.
This is very strange. I think you were very biased last night as I listened to this. You listened to the whole radio interaction, and I wasn't listening as closely as you were, but did you ever get an answer to why he started this pursuit? Because it sounded like every time that was kind of brought up, he kind of evaded.
There was only one time it was asked. Ask it one time, and that's what I'm talking about. The state troopers ask their dispatch to ask Henry County Dispatch to ask Sproles what was the initial reason for this pursuit. Sproles was quiet, and then Sproles said 1037. He didn't even say because it was 1037. He just said 1037.
And what's that?
It's a suspicious vehicle.
I see.
David, you're not even saying anything that means anything. Let's take a look at what you're saying here. You're saying cops and sheriffs get to take their cars home. Dude, I understand that. It's not illegal that he had his car. Listen, you gotta, you say, you don't listen to full sentences, and it makes you not come off. I don't know what you're doing. Nobody's saying it's illegal that he had his car. But what you don't know because I assume you've never been a police officer, that's why I'm explaining it to you. What's illegal is in the state of Indiana, and I said this last night, which you would have heard, but you didn't listen to it. In order to perform a traffic, you can even act off duty. I acted off duty a lot of times, but I was doing it in a lawful way. Here's what you can't do. In the state of Indiana, to perform a traffic stop, a police officer or a sheriff's deputy, constable, town marshal, bunny police, any law enforcement in the state of Indiana, in order to perform a traffic stop, you must have one of the following. You must be in a fully marked police car. That means a police car with lights, sirens, and markings that says sheriff or police and what your city, town, or county is, where you are, state police or whatever. You must be in a fully marked police car and a full uniform. Or you can be in an unmarked car. A completely unmarked car with lights and sirens and in a full uniform. Or you can be in a fully marked patrol car and plain clothes. But what you cannot do, what you absolutely cannot do as a law enforcement officer, you cannot be in plain clothes and an unmarked car and make a traffic stop. If you do that, it is a crime. So Monday night, your sheriff committed a crime in attempting to stop that car because he was in his unmarked car and in plain clothes. And it's not the first time he's done that nonsense. He's been caught on video doing it. We have that video. Go back in the playlist and watch it. Sproles do you know that the county insurance dropped the county and it hiked up your tax, your insurance rates because of John Sproles? We've got that video.
It didn't just hike the tax or the property insurance rates. Your deductible went from $25,000 per incident to $125,000 per incident.
Boy, that's fiscally conservative to me.
Well, I wanted to ask,
and
did this cancel
strictly because of him?
Would this cancel your guys's that Henry County's policies now with this? Because this is going to be a huge lawsuit.
It very well could, because you understand Henry County's had the same insurance for a very long time. And then sometime in 2023, the insurance company dropped them because of the sheriff's actions.
Right.
They said, and so now they have a new insurance carrier, and that's new.
Well, that's why I wanted to know if this was the final straw and that they were going to get rid of their insurance.
It very well could be. David, you're trolling at this point. Nobody says a cop can't do his job. So did you not just hear the rant I went on? Yeah, a cop can do his job. The sheriff, while on duty, or a police officer while on duty can do his job. They do it a lot. You know what the sheriff could have done? The sheriff could have picked up the phone when he was off duty, and he could have called 911, or he could have called dispatch, or he could have called one of his deputies on the road, or he could have picked up his radio and said, exactly like he did, "Do we have any cars in the area? Come here." But the sheriff didn't want to do that because he's only has at this point 4 or 5 years of experience on the road. He's not a 20-year veteran of law enforcement. So he doesn't have the foresight to know that he's doing wrong. He's like a rookie, man. You're not understanding. Cops do it all the time. You don't just get to break the law to be a cop. That's also a very strange, as a conservative like you are, that's a weird belief that you have, just bowing down to the police state and saying, yep, just do whatever you want at all time. You don't have to follow any laws. You're in uniform. You're okay. That's weird. I don't get it, bro.
But Sproles would still be in trouble because he technically wasn't in uniform.
Yeah, he wasn't in uniform.
Can I give you some breaking news?
Yeah, let's have at it.
Okay. So I have new breaking.
Dude, you're a joke, bro. I'll let you troll on. That's the whole thing. I just wish you'd be like, hey, I'm just trolling. Yeah, you're right. I hate law enforcement. Kill them all. Kill them all. Hate everybody. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Troll on, and I promise I won't comment any longer. You are free to say whatever you want. You're just a troll. I thought you were serious when I talked to you. I didn't know that you were a troll, but now I know. Go forward. All right, breaking news.
Look at your messenger and see if you want to put that up. I know you will.
My messenger?
Yeah.
I can't get messenger on my phone right now. Something's broke with it.
Kate's
ever since I tried to get on yours.
Okay.
Alva. All right, here we go. Did you send it in the group?
Yeah.
Here it's coming.
You decide if you want to share it, but I think it's breaking news.
Oh, yeah, no shit. Wait, whoa, what in the world?
It's breaking news, isn't it?
That's crazy. All right, so it's here. It's here officially. Yes, David, I've been arrested for speaking, but did you not hear me do a glowing thing for the prosecutor? I don't hate police, bro. I've been arrested. My constitutional
Why do you
rights have
give
been
David
violated
energy? Well, I mean, I wouldn't even give him energy
for speaking in a meeting, bro. Yes, I have been. I told you that while on the phone. You're brain dead, bro. Brain dead troll. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is breaking news out of Madison County.
And we can end on this. We can end on this, but this is pretty funny.
All right, yeah, something that we just talked about. This is big. This is a big deal. We just talked about this like tonight. This is crazy. When did he post this?
Look at it. It's time-stamped.
All right, here we go. 6 minutes ago. If you go in, you're blocked, so you can't do it. You ought to have your.
Kate is. I don't think Kate is.
Hey,
I think Kate's a member of that page.
Can you go to the Republicans of Madison County and click by Josh Gaskell's name where it says 6 minutes, and it will. If you click on it, it will tell you exactly what time that was posted.
But there's other people. I don't know if Cheryl McKinney's watching. She's also a member of that page. There's several people members of that page, but that's just craziness.
All right, here we go.
Oh.
All right, here we are. Breaking news out of Madison County. Here's the Madison County Republican Party. It was posted at 10:28.
Now that one I'm a member of. That one I think that one's run by
okay, so not
Kelly Hewer and those guys.
Okay. So here's the Republicans of Madison County. This was posted at 10:28 this evening. It says, after careful consideration, the decision has been made to discontinue the Republicans of Madison County group. This group was formed originally in response to a deep division within the party and the actions of the former county chairman. We have new leadership, and I believe they have a genuine desire to not only heal the party, but to grow it. There have been some great conversations and call to actions from, I think it would be calls to action, but okay, big boy. Calls to action from this group. Many connections were made between folks that may have not been made if this wasn't around. Those are some very bright spots that I will not forget. The new official party page is listed below, and I would encourage you all to follow it. It's my sincere hope the Republican Party of Madison County will thrive in the future and find a path of unity. Josh Gaskell.
Son to dun, 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 Senator Gaskell. I don't know. I mean, this in itself, does this mean that Senator Gaskell's not running in 26? It's his page. Ultimately, that's what this was made for. It wasn't about the county, just about the county chair. This was a big to do with the Likens having a falling out with the Gaskells and he, again, I like Kelly Gaskell. I know there's a lot of people that don't like her. I do like Kelly Gaskell, and she's always been very fair with me and very good to me. It's just unfortunate that her husband isn't as transparent as let's keep our word and those kind of things, in that if he doesn't get his way, if he is challenged in any way, he just doesn't show back up anymore. And that was pretty evident in Kyle Pierce's thing tonight. Like a citizen spoke up and said, we were having these great meetings, and then, Gaskell didn't get his way because he got asked an uncomfortable conversation and he had a tantrum and he never came back.
Yeah, right.
This is a blood sport, and maybe this isn't for Senator Gaskell. Not everything is rainbow and unicorns. That's just the reality of it. I mean, I don't know. I'll tell you this right now. You guys all talk about Braun being a one and done. I think Gaskell's done, because Gaskell just sold out the South Madison territory. He lives in Pendleton. I mean, you just sold out your own people. Your own uncle is the clerk treasurer over in Pendleton who says we have to have this money, and you still voted. I don't know about you. I mean, I try to be fair with my family, but something like this is a pretty big deal. And you still screwed your uncle and the people of Pendleton, Markville, LaPel. I mean, I don't know. I hope that Gaskell is done. And if Gaskell is true to his word, Gaskell said he believes in term limits. Well, that's your second time. Be done. Follow your son's lead and jump ship.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. And the whole thing is why wasn't there a good explanation of why that page has been dismantled and was put on pause? This isn't the first time he's done this. And you know why they took me off of that page? They took me off of that page because they did not want me sharing all the candidates who were running.
Oh, yeah,
so
right.
When I shared Mark West, when I shared Rainwater, oh, no, we can't have that. And you know why we can't have that? Because his wife was trying to get a job with Banks or one of the elected Republican people down there, because that's what the Gaskells do. They work for all these political parties to stay in all these good graces. Hey, come on, people. Can you do the right thing? Or is it always have to be a political agenda? Can you actually serve the people? What you signed up to do?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we didn't talk a lot about Pierce. It wasn't that exciting of a meeting with Pierce. It was a lot of...
No, it was really... It was
really strange and different.
Yeah.
But I think we had some great conversation tonight.
He talked. He didn't say a bunch of things. He said a bunch of... He said a bunch of words, but he didn't answer a bunch of questions. It was a bunch of word salad and things like that. It was crazy.
And the craziest thing with a lot of that, yes, I commend Kyle for holding the town hall. I commend Kyle from taking everybody's comments. But and then he said, I'm giving you guys behind the scenes information. I'm giving you a look behind the curtain. I don't know. I didn't come out of there with any great
No,
girls.
It wasn't.
I didn't come out of there saying, geez, I didn't know that when I walked in here. There was nothing about that. I mean, I really believe this homeless thing, they have put the cart before the horse. And as you can see, this is how government works. It's either their way or the highway. He was very clear. There is no backup plan to that. What is the bill? Isn't it House Bill 1338 that silences the public from speaking?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. No.
Well, like you can get taken out of
the decorum bill. Yes.
Yeah, it's House Bill 1338, right?
Yeah. Well, no, not now, because now there's a new 1338. See, the numbers change every year. Now it's just law. Now it's state law.
Okay. Well, at the time it was House Bill 1338.
Yes.
Okay. So I said that to Kyle. Kyle's like, no, I think that was House Bill 1336. I'm like, okay, I don't care. I didn't even argue with him, but I thought it was 1338. And Dave Sargent brought up some very good, valid points that we really have to be able to redress the community. And but what I would have liked to see Kyle Pierce say to that is, I'm going to start to show up meetings. I'm going to call these people and advocate for people to actually be speaking. Kyle Pierce himself, even, which I was disappointed because he's an attorney, He said, I don't know, I'd have to look up what the law is. Well, the law in council meetings and commissioners meetings, Chris, what is the law of public speaking? They don't have to allow you, according to Robert's rules.
Yeah, right. Well,
why he doesn't know that?
No, not according to, it's not according to Robert's rules. It's according to the law in the state of Indiana.
There you go. So why Kyle doesn't know that if he's a state rep? I'm a little confused with that.
You are correct. It was 1338.
Yeah.
There were other things that he was talking about in that meeting that he was simply wrong about.
Yeah, several times.
Because he is completely uninformed and doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That was my impression anyway.
Yeah.
The whole thing
he's in over his head.
Illegal. I can't believe you guys made homelessness illegal. And he says, oh, no, we didn't make it illegal. Next year, we're going to look at a bill to make sure that it doesn't go on their legal record.
And
which means that it's illegal right now and it's going to go on their legal record. You dumb.
Yeah. Here's what I couldn't understand. So there's a teacher in the back of the room and she's saying all these things about homelessness. And Kyle is like, now let me just be really clear. I didn't say those things. Like those words didn't come out of my mouth. Okay. I want to stop everybody right now. Okay. When that teacher in the back of the room was talking about, this was said, that was said, and I don't even remember all the different ways that she was putting it about this homelessness. And Kyle says, those are not the words that came out of my mouth, but that was how that teacher interpreted that bill. Let me enlighten every single one of you. If you vote yes for that bill to go through,
right.
You own every word that person just said because you voted for it.
Yeah.
And that's how they interpreted it. So the fact that nobody in that room stood up and said anything like, what are you talking about? I leaned over to Miss Crims and I'm like, well, didn't he vote for this bill?
Yeah.
Then he said all that. He has to own everything that they've interpreted in the back of that room. That's just my thought process. I mean, you tell me if I'm wrong, Chris, but you voted
more or less. I get what you're saying, and I get it. I mean, if you didn't come out against it, or if you did, he could have even voted and then been like, well, wait a minute, I don't like this, but I'm voting because of this. If you're not going to explain the vote, and you just blindly vote, then it goes with how you go.
And that's and Nicole's watching this. She's very involved in the homelessness. I mean, that woman works from the minute her feet hit the ground till she goes to bed at night. She's out trying to she would give literally somebody the shirt off her back because it's going to mean more to them than it's going to mean to Nicole. And Nicole may disagree with what I have to say with it right now. And that's fine. She can. But here's a newsflash for you, Kyle Pierce, because I've dealt with mental health. There are actually some people who choose to be homeless.
Yes.
They do. And how you people can decide what is best for somebody, you can get involved if they're not choosing to be homeless, but there truly are some people, that's how they want to live their lives. And when I say that, I'm not saying that's the majority, but there are a handful of people.
I mean, it's that they're choosing to live outside of society's norms.
Yes, and that's what they
free
want.
from society's rules and whatnot. Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing. It's just like when I say to somebody who smokes, I'm like, smoking, can kill you and you shouldn't do that. Now, I can't say I'm not going to take care of them or I'm going to put them in jail for smoking. And some people will actually say to me, listen, this is an acceptable societal role of me to commit suicide. Like, it's socially acceptable. They know it's going to kill them and they do it because how can I argue with that? How can I argue with the patient who says to me, that's my one enjoyment. I enjoy smoking. I'm never going to get that person to quit smoking. So do I jail them? Do I lock them up? Do I cut off their fingers? I just can't do that. And that's the same thing with this thing. To put all or none about homelessness, how can we do such a thing? Some people want to wander Indiana or they want to wander the United States. That's their choice. It's America. So, that's the whole thing. Nicole could tell me that no one wants to ever be homeless. Okay. I mean, that's why we can have acceptable dialogue. But there are some people who don't want to live like we live. So, yeah. And to leave it up to the officer to decipher, what if that officer's having a bad night? What if that officer just, has some reason not to like homeless people?
Careful. You might hate officers.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? It just happens. And so I don't know. I to say all or none with that is crazy. There was another lady in the room, and she wanted to talk about how Kyle Pierce, there's a bill that he was doing. I can't remember the number off the top of my head. I did post about it. And he was trying to get tax credits for historical homes.
Yes.
And so this woman's like, well, I hope you get that done because there's a lot of historical homes in Madison County. Well, I get that, but I want people to understand I'm not against tax breaks. But when you have as many historical homes in Madison County as we have, understand that that's going to take from the general fund because people aren't paying property tax.
Now I heard that lady say that craziness too.
Right.
And listen, that's like there's a difference between a house being a historical property and a house just being old.
Exactly.
There's I've contrary to Mr. Hall's thoughts, I have been a narcotics officer when I deeply hated myself and the people I was working with and hoped we all would have been killed at any moment. But I have served warrants as a narcotics investigator inside of crack houses that were probably that old, but they by no means were historic, So I heard that and I thought, wait a minute now.
Yeah. And again, I want people to understand who are watching. I'm unwilling to give up $200 of my property taxes if that means I'm sacrificing a fire territory. And I think the community in whole down here in South Madison would say the same thing. And it's just not worth it because at the end of the day, our property insurance is going to go up because we don't have fire and rescue readily available. That's going to be a big deal. And so there's lots of issues that are going to affect all of us in different ways, but I'll never sacrifice one's human health for $200. I mean, I just won't do it. And so this is going to be interesting to see because again, Madison County, listen to me. We have no financial oversight in this county at all. None. We are going to go bankrupt. There's no question to it. But I've tried for 5 years to tell people to show up and say, where is all this money going? Stop spending it. And I will tell you, when you watched that meeting last Tuesday and they only gave Rick Gardner $500,000 of that money, he wanted $1.2 million. I'm telling you right now, the commissioners are scrambling. They know we're in trouble financially. They want control of that money because they know that people like Bethany are watching. They know we're going to see change coming and more people are showing up to these meetings. Commissioners should never get another dime in this county. Not another dime. Do you hear me?
Absolutely.
So this will be interesting. I hope people will show up at the next county council meeting, start asking about this money and why we're in a negative draw when it comes to May. I appreciate, as always, you letting me be on here and talking about Madison County. And David Williams, I thank you for being one of my strongest supporters and always coming and watching me on this show. I know I mesmerize you and I appreciate you engaging.
You guys might get hooked up. I don't know. I don't think he's married. I don't know.
Yeah, no, thank you. But I just want you to know that it's always great.
You're holding out for Kyle Pierce.
Oh, like you're holding out for Sproles?
Not Sproles, Hoffman.
Who's your Hoffman?
Yeah.
Hey, I hope everybody goes and sees JD Prescott. What's Adam have to say here? State Bill 1 is bullshit 1.
Hey, did you hear? Monday. Listen, there's a protest at the governor's mansion on Monday, April 21st at 6:30. Hey, Tim.
Does anybody have his address?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Tim Dalton's here. What in the world, bro? Hello. Protest, governor's mansion.
I love Alva.
Monday.
Tim, you are correct. I love Alva.
Yeah, right. April 21st at 6:30 p.m. Prescott Town Hall this Saturday, blah, 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 8:30 a.m. Saturday, April 19th. Remember that. That'll be there. We'll be there, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, we'll have you back on, and we'll try to keep it more Madison County next time. But it was fun. This was an interesting show.
Well, every time you kept saying stop, I'm like, what did I say? You've never told me to stop before. Are you violating my First Amendment rights on the show?
Right. Yeah, right. Hold on. I know, man. Right after I started texting you, I stopped being able to get messages on my phone. Give me a second here and let me see what Adam's sent me.
Adam's pretty funny. David, I know you're joking. You enjoy the show.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that David does. There's two Davids here. One of them is a troll, and the other one.
David Williams just loves to try to see if he can get me fired up.
Yeah. Here we go. Look at this. Here we go.
I'm waiting for David to make me some more chili.
What in the? Why is nothing working? Stand by.
Share your screen. Hit the button.
I know this thing's driving me. You guys in the chat are off the chain tonight. I don't know what the hell any of you are talking about. You guys are going to have to start addressing who you're talking to. If you're fighting with each other, or you're fighting us. I don't even know what the hell you guys are talking about.
You would think it was a full moon. You would think it was a full moon tonight.
Yeah, right. Hold on here. We got this. This is what it says. All right. This is it comes to us from Adam. Help Grandma save her home. Join us to hold Governor Braun to his word. Call a special session for real property tax relief Monday, April 21st, 6:30 p.m. Governor's Residence, Meridian Street between 46th and 49th Street parking. So there you go.
The question with that is, do you think he's even going to be home?
Or is he going to be in Jasper? I say we go down to Jasper. Half of us need to go to Jasper, and half of us need to go make sure we get him. Yeah, that's exactly what we need to do.
Yeah, there you go now.
Yes.
Well, Tim Dalton, you post his Jasper address. Get it up there.
Post it away. I know he will be there. All right, folks. Thank you. I'm all right. Catherine, stay here. I'll be with you in 1 second. We'll be right there. Before we roll, I just need to say, whoa, I didn't want to get that big. Okay, just briefly, hit the like. This has been an interesting show. So that you understand really quickly, and because I'm sure we'll probably never talk again, you freak. David, I was arrested. The one and only time, well, I guess I've technically been arrested twice. I count the arrest in Madison County meeting as an arrest, but I didn't actually go to jail. So I have technically been arrested and went to jail one time. I told you this. You must not have been listening. I was arrested on Tuesday, November 27th, 2017 for speaking in a meeting. The exact words I said in that meeting. You want to hear the exact words? I have them. I have the recorded words right here. It's this. You're out of order. This whole place is out of order. This is a joke. You're out of order. This whole place is out of order. This is a joke. You're out of order. This whole place is out of order. This is a joke. And you can go see that video on our channel. It's up. You can see the whole video. I said those words. I was thrown into a wall and arrested for speaking in a Winchester City Council meeting and fighting the government. It was an unlawful, unjust arrest, and they violated my First Amendment rights, and I sued and won. And so, yeah. So, stuff it. All right. Dude, that was like that whole I don't believe in God thing, man. That got me so fired up, I wanted to break shit. Like, I don't understand. All right. Take care. God bless. Have a good evening. And Don't say anything bad if you don't know the truth. Good night. I'm trying to figure out how to end this shit.